So for greasing a John Deere 1025R, we're going to start out with the biggest pain in the butt, hardest to get to grease zerk on the entire machine. At the flywheel, back of the motor, there is a grease zerk in between the engine and the flywheel, and it is right there. It does not line up well with the hole, and to be perfectly honest, I don't know that I'm 100% sure that I got grease into that grease zerk because it's really hard to see and to get to. But this isn't my machine, and I can't modify things to make it easier to grease, so I did the best I could. While you're underneath that machine, you've got a couple other grease zerks involved in the drivetrain. Might as well hit them while you're down there. Everything else is topside. This here is your drive shaft that runs from the transmission up to the front axle. There's a grease zerk right in there. You do have to pull this rubber shroud to get to it. This is a new grease zerk tip. It doesn't seem to like to pop off real easy, so you're going to see me fight with it a lot. This one here, once you're done, you get that rubber shroud all screwed back down, and then that's it for ones that you gotta take stuff off to get to. Those are the two most complicated zerks on the entire tractor. This here is the drive shaft running from the engine to the top of the transmission. That one's nice and easy. Just happened to land in this machine, so that's facing down. I was pretty fortunate for that. And this is the other half of the front wheel drive shaft. That is the one that we just pulled the rubber boot on the front of it for to do the other end. So once you've got this done, the entire drive line is done for grease zerks. And we'll call this a side quest, as it were. I noticed there was a leak coming from the transmission, oil coming down from the filter. So as I started cleaning and kind of trying to figure out where it was coming from, I found a rock jammed up next to the filter.
Oh, that's why we're leaking.
And the way that rock was shoved up in there must have loosened it up, and then after that it just kept allowing it to loosen and loosen and loosen, causing it to leak.
Oh shit, huh?
And there we have it, an unknown problem fixed just because I was trying to grease it. So that's always a good thing to find it before it turns into a big issue. So after I'm done greasing everything up, I'm going to top off that reservoir in the back of the tractor. Now that we're done on the bottom side, we're going to move to all the front end loader stuff. These zerks are pretty self-explanatory. Every one of them sticks out the side, pretty apparent. Just work your way from either front to back or back to front. You got to do the left side and the right, and then that's all there is to doing the front end loader. Then the whole front of the tractor is addressed. So I switched over here to the other side of the machine. Figured just knock the whole front end loader out. And as I was doing that and working my way across, I found a missing grease zerk.
That's missing a grease zerk.
So I'm going to finish up greasing this front end, and then I'm going to go grab myself a new grease zerk to put back where that one is now missing one. I was pretty lucky. The old one that was in there was not broken off. It had just worked itself out somehow, and threads were good. Just spun this one in, and it's an easy fix. And why I didn't grab a little socket to turn that in and did it with pliers, I am unsure, but it worked. So now we're on to the back end of the machine. You've got two pivot points, two pins, whatever you want to call them, that allow this arm to swing left and right. There's one on the top there that I'm doing. There is another hiding down below that one. kind of in the middle of all that plate that holds everything together. So that one, if you're not looking for it, you might not find it. Now you want to start moving forward. Every place that this tractor articulates, moves, has a joint, there should be a grease zerk. Now you've been hanging out this far into the video. You're hopefully enjoying yourself and getting something useful out of it. Consider hitting the like button. If you checked out a couple videos and you're enjoying them, getting something useful out of them, consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Now this zerk here, where the main arm meets the secondary arm, that zerk is down below, and I will be moving the arm around to get easier access to some of these lower points. Now this grease zerk here is the end of the cylinder that swings the backhoe arm left and right, and it only has a grease zerk on the end that attaches to the arm. The end that attaches to the frame of the tractor does not have a grease zerk, so if you go looking for it, you're not going to find it. So at this point, we're done greasing. All I'm going to do now is add a little fresh hy-gaurd, the hydraulic fluid that John Deere recommends for this machine, into the transmission to make up for the fluid that had leaked out from the rock to filter contact that had happened underneath, and a bit of that drained out. This is what we're up to here. If you've ever tried to pour fluid from a 5-gallon, you realize this is a bit of a disaster. I really should have put some of it into a smaller container to pour it into that tiny little filter, but I did not. So do this at your own risk. So the back of the tractor here is where they hide the dipstick for the transmission. I'm going to double check that, make sure that you've got the appropriate amount of fluid in there after you've had a leak. And then you're all set. Greased machine, proper trans fluid, it's ready to run. And whenever you're pouring fluid from a 5-gallon container, you're guaranteed to splash it absolutely everywhere. So as much as you can, you want to clean that up, because if not, dust and dirt is going to start to stick to it and build up in places you really don't want dust and dirt building up. After that, put your cap back on. Your machine is ready to go. I appreciate everybody checking out this video and hope you have a good one.